Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to my Infinite Warfare beta review. This review is going to mostly focus on the negative aspects of the game because, unfortunately, I just do not enjoy Infinite Warfare. I don't enjoy the beta, and I don't think the game is very good. This puts me in a very awkward position because my channel and livelihood is largely based around Call of Duty, and I want more than anything for the game to be good and successful for my own livelihood, and because I just absolutely love Call of Duty games, but I feel that it is important for me to be honest with you, the fans, and let you know that the beta has gone poorly, and I feel that there are major issues with the game that the beta simply cannot fix. We're not talking about little bugs and little glitches here, but major technical issues, balance issues, and design issues. We'll start with the technical issues first. The lag in this game is quite bad, even with the dedicated servers now turned on. There's a lot of shoot first, die first moments. I don't know, a lot of people have been blaming the time to kill, saying the time to kill is too low. Statistically, if you look at the rates of fire and shots to kill on most of the weapons, they line up pretty close with other Call of Duty games, even Black Ops 3, so it shouldn't be dropping me that fast, but something with the lag compensation seems to be going crazy. Something seems to get a little desync going on, so I'll put 3 or 4 rounds into somebody and die instantly. I will confess, it's gotten slightly better over time, but the fact that it still happens, and happens with the frequency that it does, and of course it'll happen to some players more than others, is very concerning to me. Next up, the spawns are not good, nor are they consistent. I confess to not being a spawn trapping expert, nor am I a professional player on that level, but my experience has been that as a casual player in casual lobbies, I can't fully understand the spawns or predict them. I have people spawn behind me, so I get shot in the back. I've spawned behind people, like I've spawned looking at people's backs and shot them. I've had people spawn in my crosshairs. I've had a lot of bad spawns, and even, you know, those are really honestly rare. Like the ones where people pop up in your crosshairs happen pretty rarely, but popping up in strange locations or just all over the map happens all the time, and I feel like I'm constantly shooting 1 or 2 people, and then, alright, it's time to immediately turn around because that's where they're going to be. It's the same kind of issue that Ghost had, and that's very upsetting. These, I think, are more technical, mathematical kind of issues. The lag is a lag compensation thing, and the spawns have... Look, the spawn algorithm in a Call of Duty game is complicated because it's very fast-paced, a lot going on, and I could talk about it for days, but there are other issues that are perhaps more fundamental to the game that can't be fixed with simple patches, and those are the rigs and the guns and gun perks. The rigs give you a lot of abilities that I genuinely think are unfair. They're similar to Black Ops 3 Specialist, except you have more choices with them, and you can kind of get like a free perk. You can pick 2 things instead of 1. Sometimes you can pick a free perk or a passive ability or an item that you can use, and many of you have experienced this, but I'll just give you a few examples of the perks that I think are unfair and frustrating. You have faster health regeneration on the Merc rig, if I'm not mistaken, which is very similar to the painkiller perk from Ghost, which was unpopular, and I think it's unfair because when they see you, they don't know if you have the faster health regen perk, or as we'll talk about next, the longer lasting equipment perk, or exactly what you've kind of got, so they don't know if they should be able to challenge you briefly after a gunfight or not. The next one is you have stuff like longer lasting equipment, or equipment with more health, which is just what we need, is more mines all over the map. The Synaptic rig has faster thruster charge, which is the only way in the game that I'm aware of to get your thrusters recharging, and they reset when you wall run, so you can move around very, very quickly, and nobody else can really even compete with that. The next one, if I'm not mistaken, is the FTL character, who has this sort of Sixth Sense-like ability that your screen grows yellow whenever people are looking at you off screen. This isn't a sort of ranged ability, but just any time that somebody that's not on your screen is looking at you, it glows bright yellow. So if somebody's coming up behind you, if somebody even kind of passes you and looks your direction and says no, you have an idea that you're being looked at. It's like a giant warning of, hey, you're about to die, and it gives you all sorts of unfair advantages, and people that see you, they might know that you might have that one ability or that perk and not the other 2, but it's not very well understood, and generally speaking, the rigs are not as distinct as Specialists, though I can definitely tell some of them apart. That's just the abilities part of it. When it comes to the weapons, I'm a little bit less picky on those because weapons are designed, especially like Specialist and Black Ops 3, they're designed to be strong, they're designed to be powerful, but some of them are kind of annoying. They're not very fun to play against. I have two examples here in the same map. The bull charge ability can be very frustrating because it kind of pounds you in the face. I guess it's similar to the Ripper ability and its lethality, but it's frustrating because you can't kill the person that's on the way into you and they just kind of wreck you like a train. And the other one that's crazy to me is I would call reverse glitch, which I believe is, it's on the FTL class. It allows you to teleport forward directly into somebody's face. I don't use it that well. Other people make a lot of use out of it. And finally, we have the robot dog, which is another melee type ability. And I'll admit, I'll be the first person to admit that it looks cool, but I just turned that guy into mush just so easily right there. You can get on sprees and trains with it. It's relatively easy to kill. It doesn't have that much more health than normal, but it is kind of annoying. And this crazy thing can run on walls. Just look at this guy go. I'm going to get killed here in just a second because I'm doing my wall running, but when I saw that, it baffled me. Like I said, some of the abilities are fine, some of them are not. A lot of the perks I'm not a big fan of, but what frustrates me more, even more so than the rigs, is the gun perks. So the rigs, you have an idea, maybe it's a learning curve, maybe it's like I haven't played enough to have an expectation of what people are going to be using, what's popular, or, you know, remember all of the different moves. But when it comes to guns, you have almost no idea what guns your enemies are using until after you're already dead. And some of them are quite strong. Some of the gun perks are stronger than the base abilities or base perks or base specialists. I'm just going to go over a few random ones here that I think are pretty BS. It didn't take me very long to find these. This is just the beta. There's so much more. We have a nuclear streak attachment that's just built into the gun. I'm glad that we get the nuke back because that was fun, but I don't see why it has to be built into specific weapons as a gun perk, and that ties it, you know, into some other pay-to-win type stuff I'll complain about later. We have infinite damage range on the NV4 flatline, which makes it perform better than a lot of the light machine guns in the game with less recoil, better damage over range. You can put a silencer on that's a pure bonus, but if you see somebody and even hear them shooting this weapon, you won't know that until you're already dead, so you'll just get dropped at distance and, you know, 3 or 4 shots and wonder what in the world happened. We have roll the dice, which gives you one random attachment when you spawn, just free attachment, just like here you go, have a free attachment. That one's not as annoying because on the receiving end, but it does seem a little bit unfair. On the same gun class, you have Scrambler that kills hide nearby friendlies from enemy radars. So if you're standing next to 3 or 4 friendlies and you kill somebody, you get an instant temporary counter UAV that... Sure, okay. Here's one I actually have gameplay of, the FHR-40 Windfall. It has Invigorate, which killing an enemy refills a portion of your health. And I'll go ahead and show some little gameplay clips I got with that. And what makes this unfair, you don't get a full health regen, you don't get it all back, you don't overstock your health, you just get, I think it's like a third or a quarter of it back. But as you continue to progress through a very hectic gunfight, instead of needing to pull back and let your health regenerate, you just constantly get it back from killing people, and unless you're playing on an organized team with microphones, you have no idea that somebody's doing this. You're going to see an enemy, like, if I saw an enemy that took 3 or 4 shots and killed my teammate, I'm like, alright, this guy's one shot, right? I'm going to go in, I'm just going to wreck him, I'm just going to spray. But no, he's got half or 3/4 health back, and he got that because he had this gun, and I didn't even know that he had that gun because it could have been any variant that showed up in the kill feed, and because of that, I got screwed, basically. The Erad Cerebus has a Master Key underbarrel shotgun built into it just because, sure, have another weapon with your weapon, and that gives those players an advantage. The Sensor is kind of like Ping, or I believe there's another ghost perk like this. You see them on the mini-map when you damage them, which allows you to do call-outs and give their location and stuff. This one deals double damage, albeit at a slower fire rate, but that's still kind of a crazy thing to have, especially in modes like Hardcore. You could do all sorts of nonsense. Actually, the NV4 flatline is an issue there. Hunter Killer outlines enemies at low health, so you know who you don't even have to hit in the chest or the head with. You just hit them somewhere and they die, so that... Okay, next up in the shotgun category, we have one called Deathbringer, which double kills instantly reload your magazine. I think there's one on the Type 2 as well that I made use of. This one I think is unfair because, again, nobody knows that you have these until they kill you and you're already dead. Imagine if you saw 2 teammates run around the corner into this weapon and they both die. But you hear him get shots off, and you hear the other guy shoot like a whole bunch of shotgun rounds, and you think, okay, I'm gonna wait like just a split second for him to start reloading, and then I'm gonna rush around and get him because he's got to be one shot and probably have no ammo, right? But this guy had a rare variant, and he got a double kill on your teammates, and when you ran around the corner, you got hosed again. Now there's some people telling me you shouldn't have rushed the corner when you know that guy had a shotgun, but many of you, I know you've heard somebody empty almost the whole mag or the whole mag, and you know they have to reload soon. Well, now they don't. Or the same kind of thing, headshots instantly refill your magazine. What if in a gunfight some guy just kept getting headshots and he didn't even have to reload, he could just stay there and hose people? Finally, you have abilities that completely change the weapon, like the double damage one. The Oni Kaken here, it does a charged, powerful single shot instead of being a pistol. This turns it into like a one-shot energy weapon. I think it turns it into more of a projectile launcher, but you can just one-shot people into oblivion like this. And again, you don't know that the person has these until after they've already killed you with it, which inherently seems to be a balance issue. Which moves into my next balancing issue, is that some of these variant guns are clearly better than the base weapons. In the case of Infinite Warfare, they often had, not Infinite Warfare, derp, Advanced Warfare, they often had drawbacks or negatives or something. Most of these are pure bonus. There's not that many that have significant downsides, so the better variant or version or up level of the weapon you get, the more advantage you have over other players. Sometimes tremendously so, sometimes it almost transforms it into a different weapon. And this wouldn't be so bad for the fact that it just kind of encourages players to spend extra money on supply drops, so they'll have all the best stuff and have an advantage, which moves it closer to pay to win. Now, Call of Duty has a fast time to kill compared to other shooters overall, so even with the most garbage gun in the game, you're still going to be able to kill people, but you just won't have all that cool stuff. Now, many of you will say, okay, but Infinite Warfare has scrap, and it's totally fair, because if you don't want to spend $1, you can play this game, grind it out, do your challenges, earn your scrap, and just unlock these weapons as you go. Unfortunately, the scrap earn rate is fairly slow, in my opinion. Okay, well, I'll take that back. It would be okay for the full game release, but right now we know that the scrap earn rate has been increased just for this beta. So we're earning scrap and keys and stuff faster in the beta than we will be in the main game. And even now I would need to grind for 3-4 days, maybe almost a week, in order to unlock the weapons that I want. So for a completionist type person, there would be a great deal of grinding, even at the current rate, to unlock all of the good weapons, or even a couple of them. And for the people, but that's going to be reduced when the main game comes out. And for people that just want to throw money at supply drops, they're going to get good stuff. And sometimes when you put in your hard-earned playtime and you earn a supply drop, you think, I'm going to open this up, it's going to be awesome, there's going to be something cool. At the worst, I can get, maybe like some bonus scrap. And you'll open it up kind of like I did. It's like, oh man, I got 3 calling cards for real and just a little bit of scrap. 13 scrap when it takes almost 6,000 to unlock a weapon tier, or 200 to even unlock the lowest variant. That is not very appealing to me. I don't really enjoy that at all. Moving down toward the end, I have some lesser complaints. I feel that the movement is slightly less polished and fluid than Black Ops 3, although it is very similar. If Black Ops 3 is an A-, this one's a B+, just a minor step down. I think, generally speaking, the in-game camos are pretty ugly. Some of them even strangely put the camo or the stuff on top of your optical attachments, or at least in the preview window, which doesn't make much sense at all. And there's a myriad of other smaller issues, such as rigs have no backstory, unlike specialists, so I don't get attached to them. Maps, I believe, are too small for this type of movement. People just end up everywhere, which probably doesn't help the spawn system. Quickscoping is annoying in this game. I'm not even a very good sniper. This is, a matter of fact, the first game I've ever even tried sniping in Infinite Warfare, and I managed to get clips like this. I'm terrible at sniping. I am awful. I am garbage town at sniping, but I can still do this no problem. And it's not been very fun for me. I wish that I could make a more positive video for you guys in the community, especially for those of you that want the game. I wish that I could sit here and tell you that everything's going to be fine and that all of this is going to be fixed, and it's just, one balance patch away, and that everything is great, but the spawns need some work. Or, yeah, we've got lag now because they're stress testing the servers, but man, the game is awesome when it plays on LAN. And that's not really the case, unfortunately. There's so much BS is the best way to say it in this game that gets you killed randomly, quickly, unexpectedly, that you didn't see or couldn't counter, or even if you did see it, you wouldn't be able to recognize it because you don't know what special item the person is holding. And I feel that this makes for a bad game. I know this isn't going to be a popular video. I know a good number of developers that I talk to are not going to be happy when they hear this, and it's not even good for me. If I were purely self-interested, it would be easier for me to sit here and lie to you and say, oh man, the game is dope, go buy it and watch my videos, but that's not the case. I'll probably be doing a lot more Modern Warfare Remastered next year. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, please don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.